I didn't know what paddle was, but apparently it is a real estate game changer in South Florida.
Everybody's getting behind this, like developers we're talking about now. So this is a real estate channel. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about guys putting lots of money behind this to build paddle courts. For example, right here, 8 paddle projects that were proposed or announced in South Florida in 2025. One of which is where we're at in Boca Raton. Here in Boca Padel, the indoor pickleball and paddle courts, which broke ground in June, they're saying, promises to bring 100,000 square feet of space for the upcoming South Florida project. So, I mean, huge project. And then they have not 7 others that are slated for development and are already in process, scattered through South Florida. Miami's a big one, obviously. Excel Paddle. They're launching their flagship facility, which looks just epic, right? It says here paddle clubs in the U.S. grew 52% year over year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's actually not that many courts, 688 paddle courts and 113,000 active players worldwide, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. And South Florida, obviously leading the pack here with interest in this because there's a heavy international population here. So developers are using these amenities to help sell their real estate, right? If they're putting it in communities or if they're putting it adjacent to the communities. And then we just have real companies coming in that specialize in this and building them like we have in Boca right here with that new Boca Padel, that'll be cool.
Are we going to talk about the luxury slowdown that's supposedly happening now with South Floridians possibly going back to New York? Because this, I'm not going to call BS straight up. I mean, the Real Deal certainly does their homework, but I just found this fascinating to see because as we were just talking about off camera is how, if I see the news and who's going where with the mayoral election in New York and Donnie's going to win and all the millionaires are going to leave and come to Florida. But now I'm seeing this. They're saying, no. The people down here are going to go back to New York. So it's like, what the hell is happening?
I think the truth here is somewhere in between, right? So
trading places.
There's unlikely to be this massive, like catastrophic or amazing exodus from New York. People have been saying this forever. New York's dead. New York is not dead. New York is far from dead. New York's one of the most iconic places in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for that. And even with politics, I think New York still remains that way, right? But I do think, and we've had calls from millionaires saying, hey, if this happens, we're considering, moving. And we're working with a number of people that are always moving around for tax reasons all the time. So this is just probably going to step that up if the politics lean one way or the other. The reality is, hey, there's not a lot of demand or not as much demand as there was. The homes are sitting longer and we will likely have to cut prices in order to move some of this product. Slowdown means number of sales have slowed down, not prices have come down in that space. More so just number of home sales have slowed down while New York's have accelerated a bit, right?
The flea market, which is to be replaced by the industrial park in Pompano Beach. I don't know how familiar you were, Larry, with the flea market in Pompano. But if you were, it's gone for good. But in its place is a $66 million transformation that could redefine Broward County's industrial landscape. Because for decades, if you're a local there, you knew it as kind of a weekend hotspot, the Festival Flea Market off of Sample Road. So after 40 years of operation, it's being demolished to make way for something completely different. The Festival Logistics Park, which is a massive 3-building industrial complex backed by Foundry, Commercial, and Wheelock Street Capital. Because, man, Pompano Beach just can't help themselves. The turnover, everything they're putting up there just in these past few years is crazy.
This is a little different from what we usually talk about.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it was like kind of staple location for a lot of people. You said hot spot. I had to laugh. It's just like, that's kind of funny. Yeah. They're expected, as you mentioned, to replace this. This is it's a little rundown. So what they're going to put there is going to be great, right? And this is huge. It's 26 acres. It's a 26-acre facility. So it's a big piece of land. It's right across the street from what we call Mount Trashmore. I almost said Mount Rushmore. Mount Trashmore.
The Mount Rushmore of trash.
The highest peak in South Florida. South Florida needs these areas to continue to service and the population, right? So so this is a good spot, but it's nice to see that like we're improving the surroundings, because in that area, actually, like the area is pretty nice. It's like from a retail and industrial perspective, there's a lot of like quality buildings with real quality operators, whether that's like big Fortune 100 or 500 companies. They have a lot of industrial space there.
Staying in Broward, let's talk about Kushner as they expand in Hollywood. A 470-unit multifamily and synagogue approved near the Hard Rock Casino. If you're unfamiliar with the New York powerhouse who's planting these deeper roots in South Florida in Hollywood, it's on a key 5.7-acre site right there at Sterling Road and State Road 7. The city commission has greenlit a bold mixed-use vision. You'll have an 8-story multifamily building, 7-story garage, a dedicated synagogue, and the preservation of the historic Bryant House.
This is a big project.
A lot.
Yeah. The Hard Rock is a huge employer, right? I mean, there's so much going on there. Yeah. So there's good. And in this area, there's a lot happening over by the Hard Rock. You're right adjacent to, so you're in Hollywood, but you're adjacent to Davie. Davie's got a lot going on. There's huge demand here for residential. So the Hollywood City Commissioner rezoned the development site from north mixed use to planned development, or PD, which is what they needed, and approved a partial demolition of the Bryant House to remove a portion of the structure that was not part of the original construction. So the Bryant House is a early 1900s building. Okay. John Bryan Jr. Originally, he was originally involved with the orange groves there. I don't know. Designated a local historic site in 1999. And so they're working on, I think this is like a part of the deal. Like they for some reason they had to do this, and it's not super clear why. We're
talking about a different AI startup which just ditched San Francisco, and they're coming to Boca, joining 2 other new tenants at Boca Raton's biggest office campus. So you have 3 new companies. That includes the California-born Echo Twin AI. They've just signed leases at the Brick, Boca Raton Innovation Campus, adding 78,000 square feet of new activity to the city's biggest office property.
This company, Echo Twin AI, they're taking 2,700 square feet in the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. It's the first time this company will ever have an office. So this is their strategic move. This guy, Chris Carson, and his 5-person team will be in this office space. So, yeah. And they provide infrastructure intelligence to help cities manage urban environments more efficiently. It uses proprietary visual intelligence engine to turn municipal fleets like garbage trucks and street sweepers into mobile sensors. They chose Boca Raton specifically, which is pretty interesting. Maybe they have more contracts here. Right. With city officials and stuff. So that could be one of them. We keep talking about Brick, Boca Raton's innovation campus, which is like super interesting. It's the location where IBM invented the first computer, the first personal computer, right? Yep. So, and this is where it is, located right in Boca. Huge campus with tons of development potential, but it also houses a lot of innovative companies, and it's a big place. It's got a ton of square feet, and they have huge development projects in the pipeline on this property.
Lennar, who's among a group of buyers who dropped $68 million into this Broward development site. This is in Coconut Creek, to be more specific. It's a joint venture, major South Florida developers acquiring 170 acres for Main Street.
Turnpike, Sample, in between Lions Road, right? And it's funny, we just talked about this development, right?
Yeah.
This is where the and I was just saying how like this area is pretty decent. Mount Trashmore right here.
All right.
And yeah, and
so it's all right by that.
It's all right here. I mean, this whole area is poised for transformation. I mean, let's villas, condos, shared clubhouse, all under Lennar's wing. Let's see, GSR RE Partners will keep the apartments and retail sections, including an 80,000 square foot grocery anchored plaza. That's a big plaza. The site will feature a 14-acre wetland preserve and over 6 miles of biking trails. What's really cool about this, this area in general is pretty sweet because like you just connect straight to Butterfly World, which is right here.
Oh yeah,
the whole park right here, Trade Winds. If you ever played frisbee golf or disc golf or whatever you want to call it, that's like they have something here. So yeah, they got this is like all going to be kind of like interconnected. This park is going to be much more active. Developers say this will become the new heart of Coconut Creek, blending homes, shops, civic space, and parks into a true city center.
A retired attorney, this is Ned Kimmelman. He filed a lawsuit to block a citizen-led petition. You've seen the signs, the green Save Boca, that could force voter approval on future city land deals. But then he abruptly withdrew it 9 days later. No hearings, no rulings, no explanation. He was out. Okay, so what happened then?
His lawsuit accused Save Boca. Okay, so Save Boca of using misleading language, egregious falsehoods to collect signatures. So, hey, the Save Boca crew is very passionate, and they've been sending out stuff. And there's probably been a few people involved in that, and maybe maybe the language they're using isn't necessarily correct. But now with the case dismissed, the group's ballot measure remains alive. So it's kind of interesting. We got to find Kimmelman to find out what he's doing here. So here's legal twist. Kimmelman's voluntarily dismissed his lawsuit without prejudice, meaning he can refile. So there's that. Maybe he's going to refile, maybe differently. Court documents showed procedural issues, including missing or flawed summons requests before the case could move forward. Neither the city nor Save Boca had responded yet. So that's kind of interesting. So it sounds like this is suggesting he kind of messed it